Hi guys, it's Jamie here and welcome to the first tutorial in the Geisha project. Unfortunately, because of the way my sewing machine is set up, I couldn't show you the putting together of this cover. So I'm going to talk you through it. First thing I used was a cushion cover that I picked up from a charity shop or a thrift store and cut it down so that it would fit height-wise. And before I sewed the free edge, I added one layer of a jiffy envelope so that it has some body to the cover. If you don't have that, you can use a bit of wadding, you can just double over material. It's non-essential, it's just a feel I like. In this project, I'm not only going to use the kit, but I'm also going to use some extras from our paper collection and also from my own stash. My stash is at least 10 years old and comes from when I used to do scrapbooking and card making. I did also recently purchase a second-hand book which has Japanese designs in it, which I will be showing you in a minute, so that I can get a more eclectic look. The way this is going to close is it will go over one way and then it will come back over on itself, and we will have a closure on both sides here. And next we're going to put the papers together. I have 12 pages here already folded, all cut to exactly the same size. One is my own and then the rest are from the kit and also from Paper Collection 2, where I've used the colour swatch to try and match with the paper. If you've ever made a junk journal before, you will understand this, that when you put it together they start to stick out from each other and create different levels. Now if you want a very neat looking journal where that doesn't happen, then some people try to take all 12 pages and cut them in one go. I've always found that quite messy. What I found is decide your page order first, and then with each page you come in 1 millimeter. Go minus 1 millimeter on this one. That gives you a new page width, and then you will go minus 1 millimeter. So each time you are cutting through two pieces. For those of you in the US using imperial, a millimeter on this centimetre is just one of those tiny little marks. On 12 pages you will have come in 12 millimetres, which is 1.2 centimetres by the time you get to the central pages, but you will find that it lines up a lot nicer. This was from a 12 by 12, so it's already smaller than the original size. So as I cut them down, I will see where the best position to put this one is. That is my next job, to decide how I'm going to do these pages, how I want them laid up, what I want as my first page. When you open the journal, I think I would take something pretty like this one as my first page. You decide how you want them to sit in your journal before you start to trim up those edges. As you can see at this stage, everything is pretty neat. I've selected my papers, I've cut them down, put them together, and they now line up very nicely. The next thing I'm going to do is to edge all the papers with the vintage photo and keep them in the order because they have been cut to size. Going to take my VersaFine Vintage Sepia, which is very similar to vintage photo but gives you a stronger colour deposit. To overcome that, although I'm putting it on the brush, I am actually going to take a bit off, then go round. I'm going to go round all the edges plus that spinal area on both sides, turn it over, and the same thing, the fold area, those edges. I'm going to do that for all the pages and any ephemera that you've already got in the kit that you're going to use as it is. For example, I have got these postcards, but when I cut them up so they would have a small hinge area because I want to be able to flip them rather than put them in a pocket. However, I will also be staining around any pockets or tags, journal cards, these postcards that I intend to use. Everything that I have got out to be used has been stained. Some things I've already added hinging onto because I know I'm going to do those as flips. Some were scrap pieces where I quite liked the fact there was some lettering on it. With the ephemera, I've sewn round it using different stitch types, as well as back it onto some Chinese, Japanese looking card. I have got this Great Works of Japanese Graphic Art by Douglas Mannering, which I picked up secondhand for about $3 US, and I'm going to go through this and take out some of these pictures. I have a reasonably large selection of images from that book, some of which may not end up being used. To prepare them for the book, we're going to degloss them. Normally I just use the clear gesso. This time I'm also going to try aging them a little with an emery board, and if I don't like the effect, we'll only do it on a couple. So what we'll do is we'll do one with just clear gesso and one that's been scratched up and see which look we prefer. I'm going to take some of the clear gesso and run it over. And because we don't want obvious brush marks, go in with a finger and very gently rub it round. While our two experimental ones are dry, we're going to try rubbing over with what's left on the brush with the vintage photo or the sepia, because mine isn't actually vintage photo, and see how we feel then. I've got a feeling I'm going to prefer that one. Well, the one thing you can say is it is no longer very glossy in comparison to ones that haven't been treated. I don't know if you can see the difference on the camera. I'm trying to get them so they catch the light. I don't mind either actually. One looks older, that one. I'm going to carry on and degloss these ones and possibly scratch up the paper doll type ones. I've been round and emery boarded these figures with the big pieces or pictures. I've cut them down, deglossed them without scratching over them, and just gone round the edges with the vintage sepia. Those are now ready to also be used in the journal. I will catch you in the next tutorial. Bye!